Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. Nazarian here, and I'm so excited to introduce to you your new writing project. You are going to be writing your very own fairy tale. Well, wait a minute. It's not going to be just any old fairy tale. It's actually going to be a story that's based on a traditional fairy tale, but you are going to make some changes. And so you are going to be writing a fractured tale. Okay, so let me help you start thinking about good strategies to use to write your fractured tales because I'm really excited about them. I think that you're going to have a lot of fun doing this, and I want you to be proud of these stories that you create when you share them with your family. How to write a fractured tale? Well, there's three main things that you need to do. The first thing is you really need to know the traditional story. So remember, we read lots of fairy tales over the last couple weeks. You need to know these stories. You might want to go back and read these stories if you have them at your home, or you can find them online. I will include a link. Or you can go back to our reading lessons and listen to me read the stories. So make sure you know the traditional story. Next, you want to decide on a change to improve the story. How can you make the story more interesting? How can you make it better? And last, you're going to make the change lead to other changes. So make sure that the change that you make in this story leads to other important changes in the story. It's kind of like, you know how when you build dominoes, you make the dominoes and you touch the first one and it goes down and it knocks the next one down and the next one and the next one and the next one? That's what your change is going to do. Let me show you an example. Do you remember when we read Prince Cinders? Now, this is an adaptation or a fractured tale of the traditional Cinderella story. So, what did Babette Cole change in this story? Well, she changed the characters and she changed the events. Now, I remember Babette Cole changed the Cinderella character to a boy, Prince Cinders. And I think that was a good idea because there's not very many stories out there where the Cinderella character is a boy. So that makes this book very interesting. Because she did that change, the Cinderella is a boy, it changed lots of other things. Instead of like a high-heeled slipper, Prince Cinders lost his trousers. And there's other important changes in here too. Instead of Prince Cinders having three mean sisters, he has three mean, lazy, slobby brothers, and they're big and hairy. Remember that? She also changed the setting of this story. Instead of it being long ago, she made the setting take place in a more modern time. And they all went to a nightclub dancing instead of a castle and a big fancy ball. So you see how changing the Cinderella character to a boy is like that domino effect. It changes what the character loses. It changes the three sisters to the three brothers. And it also changes the prince to a princess. Remember at the end when he meets Princess Lovely Penny? Yes. And then they end up getting married. So today I want to make sure that you know how to adapt a fairy tale. Okay? So number one, the first thing you're going to do is going to choose a fairy tale. I think these are two good ones to start with. You choose either The Three Little Pigs or choose The Three Billy Goats Gruff. These both have simple stories that'll be easy for you to make a change and get practice. Now, if you write a fractured tale that you love from one of these and you want to do another one, you can. But these two story books are good ones to start with. So I'm going to choose The Three Little Pigs, okay? And in the Google Docs, you will find planning a fractured fairy tale. Now, I printed it out and I'm going to write on it so you can see, okay? But these are in your in your classroom, the Google Classroom. So I'm going to choose to adapt Three Little Pigs. So I'm going to I wrote with a pencil, but you're going to type Three Little Pigs. This is the traditional fairy tale that you are adapting. My new title, I thought about this. It took me a little while to come up with a great idea, but I'm really excited about it. My new fairy tale title is going to be Three Little Hamsters. So instead of it being about the pigs, it's going to be about three hamsters. Now, the characters in the traditional tale are Pig 1, 2, and 3. They really don't have names, do they? They just say the first little piggy, the second little piggy, the third little piggy. And then there's, of course, the big bad wolf. Now, in my fairy tale, Three Little Hamsters, I'm going to have hamster 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to have big bad cat. Yeah. Oh, the setting. So the setting for the traditional story is farmland. The setting for the Three Little Hamsters is going to be, I think, well, I could put it in a pet shop. I think I'm going to put it in a neighborhood. Like, I could put it in a house. So the magical elements, there's not any fairies casting spells or changing, rats into coachmen or anything like that. But the animals are like people and they talk. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to have the animals like people. I keep that the same. Oh, here's the problem. The problem in the traditional story is that the big bad wolf is blowing down the pigs' houses and he eats them. So I'm going to have maybe a similar problem, but it can't be the big bad wolf blowing down their houses and eating them. But I think I could do the big bad cat. How about the big bad cat is breaking into their houses and eating them? Yeah, that's pretty scary. Okay, and now I have to come up with how is the problem going to be solved? Well, in the traditional story, pig number 3, the third piggy, he outsmarts the wolf. Remember that? By building a strong, safe house. And then later he also outsmarts the wolf by being early to the turnip field and the apple tree and the fairgrounds. And then finally the big bad wolf comes down the chimney, but the piggy already made a big pot of boiling water. And that's where the big bad wolf fell. So I'm going to think of how the problem is solved in my story that I'm going to write. I think maybe I'm also going to have hamster 3 outsmart outsmarts the cat. It's going to be fun to think of ways that Hamster 3 outsmarts the cat. And as I think of these ways, I'm going to write them on my plan. Okay? This will be your assignment for today, is to complete your planning chart. So again, you're going to decide, are you going to write a fractured tale from the Three Little Pigs? Or are you going to write a fractured tale from the Three Billy Goats Gruff? Decide on which one. Maybe you choose the one that you remember the best, or that you like the best. Or maybe you are already having great ideas brewing and you know for sure which one you're going to do an adaptation to. All right? Make sure you know the traditional story. Make sure you decide on a change to improve the story. And make sure that the change leads to other changes. All right? So you're going to be changing the characters, the events, and the problem. I cannot wait. So get your minds going and that creative juices flowing, and start thinking, start brainstorming some great changes you could do to one of these fairy tales. All right, I can't wait to see these.